Fearless Morning Show. We're having confessions and conversations about your everyday life. My name is Yamitra Jojo Waddell, the only Live Past Crazy specialist. So what better place to be than here with me? Hope you're ready to get this morning started. It's going to be the most amazing day ever. Let's do an introduction because I want to talk about something. Please make sure you share the show because sharing is caring. Friends and family don't have Facebook. Send them to that YouTube channel where they can binge watch all the Fearless Morning shows over there. Don't forget we have the podcast, we have the books, we have the movies, we have all the things, and we are revamping the podcast, so be on the lookout for that. But I did the evening show last night, so if you didn't watch last night, I really encourage you to go back and watch it because it's going to tie in today. So last night I talked about to whom much is given, much is required. And when it comes to the much is required part, we get skimpy. We ask for the things, but when it comes to the requirement of what you got to do to get the things, you change what you want because you don't want the requirements that go with what you said you wanted. And so we keep changing our life. And then we have a relationship with fear. You're afraid of this, you're afraid of that. Well, then you start spending so much time with fear that you like it, you become comfortable with it, it becomes your friend, you move with it, it moves with you. You can't go nowhere without fear. You try to do something, you look up and you be like, oh, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be scared, I'm supposed to be afraid. And then you have fear sitting there with you, and you spend so much time with it. It becomes your comfort zone, even though you say you don't want it. Even though you say you're afraid of it, it is your comfort. So which leads me to today. The parameters of your thinking. Y'all with me so far? So, and then if you share the show, please tag me so I can probably tell you thank you. I think some people shared and I can't see it. In your parameters of thinking, okay? If you are trying, in your parameters of thinking, I want you to think about what you're thinking about. If what you're thinking about is already constrained by who you're around in your environment, it is 10 times harder for you to shift your thinking, for you to think differently. It is easier for you to default to the fear. It's easier for you to change what you say you wanted. It's easier for your goals to be smaller and not great. Sometimes you need a guide or a leader or someone who has done it before you to show you that if you move outside of the parameters of your thinking, that there is something different. Now, inside of the parameters of your thinking, what is your intent? What is your intent about what you're thinking, why you're thinking, and who is around you as you're thinking it? Because that can change. If I'm in an environment that's not conducive to my mindset, and y'all, when I tell you, I remind me to tell you that. If I'm in an environment that's not conducive to where I want to go and what I'm thinking, I've now got to be intentionally aware. Oh, good morning, Cree. I didn't know you were on. I have to be intentionally aware of my environment, what's happening, what's going on, and who I'm allowing to shape my thoughts. So if I'm in an environment where I'm living paycheck to paycheck, my friends are living paycheck to paycheck, my best friends living paycheck to paycheck, ain't none of us owning houses, ain't none of us got good relationships with our children's father, we don't have good marriages, we don't have anything. If none of us have that, and I want something different, me speaking it out into that environment is going to be met with the fear that they're comfortable with, and they're going to remind me of the fear that I'm comfortable with, and they're going to be like, wait a minute, JoJo, what is this you're talking? And so my intent may have been, and my desire may have been to do something different. But to whom much is given and much is required. And in that moment, I see the requirement is higher for me to get out of my current situation. And if I don't have the tenacity to do it, if I don't have the mental fortitude or the strength and or the guide to help me get out of that, I'm going to stay with the comfort of my fear, and I'm going to stay where I'm at. And I'm going to be like, you know what? My whole family lived like this. And then it becomes generational. Think about it. I heard this example the other day. Think about it like this. When I was growing up, men had, they were, what do you call the people that build stuff? They were builders. So my Uncle Evans, who was my godfather, was a builder, right? He had his own business. He laid brick. He built houses. He did plumbing. He did all of that. His daddy did that. Uncle Evans did that. His son did that. His grandson does that. His great-grandson does that. It's generational. Somebody was the guide, and it showed them. If you have a generation of ain't no good men here, ain't no good men there, or if the men are truly not doing what they're supposed to do, it's generational. The son, if the daddy is that, the son may become that. The grandson may become that, and the great-grandson may become that. If they come from I'm not a man and I'm not taking care of my household, it becomes generational. Because I watched my daddy not take care of his household. So my children are going to watch me not take care of my household. And my grandchildren are going to watch me not take care of they're going to watch me make it everybody else's fault but mine. And it becomes generational. So when it comes to the intent of your thought process, you need to look at the parameters that you are around. And if the parameters that are around my thought process are not conducive to what I want to think or say and or do, then you're going to need a guide or somebody to show you that there is different. Sometimes you can't understand abundance because you ain't never seen it, and that's okay. But somebody has to introduce you to abundance, and in your parameters of your mindset, there's got to be the willingness and the openness to see that abundance is available to you. Now, if you don't think it's available to you, whether I show it to you or not, if I say, hey, you can live past crazy, if you don't believe it because the parameters of your thinking and the people that surround you remind you of your relationship with your fear, then it doesn't matter, honey, if Jesus himself comes down and shakes your hand and tells you this here is the promised land. You will not receive it. Because for whom much is given, much is required. And the requirement is stopping us from getting what much is given. You want the much, but the requirement you ain't checking for. Because the requirement says you got to change your environment. The requirement says you got to change the parameters of your thinking. The requirement says you love your auntie, your cousin now, but in this moment of this change that you said you wanted, you can't talk to them. Because the requirement is that you need to be focused on this thing. You need to be focused on that. Especially if you're looking at generation like my Uncle Evans, who built things. His grandchildren build things. He built a business and he taught them. And they build things. Look at your grandma. If my mama's macaroni is made a certain ways because her mama made it, I make it. Rosie makes it that way. Courtney makes it that way. If you bake, oh, hey, Tamika, good morning. If you bake like Tamika bakes, make sure y'all check out Nunu Cakes because, honey, she got the best cakes in the whole wide world. That key lime pound cake will change your life. Tamika, put your stuff down there if you're still listening. Her grandma taught her how to bake. And her mama probably taught her how to bake. And it's passed down. Same thing with negative thinking. Same thing with thinking people are trifling. Same way of thinking. All the bad that you assume in the world, I need you to look at the parameters and the history of who gave it to you. Why are we thinking like that? Why are we continuously thinking like that? And who is your guide in thinking? Who is guiding me in the change of my thinking? So if you're the guide for your group, if you're the one person in your group that's about to be different, and that's a wonderful thing. You're about to be the difference maker, the change maker in your group. That's amazing. I want you to be intentional about the parameters of your thought process. Okay? The parameters of your thinking. Because whom much is given, much is absolutely required. And in that requirement, friend, don't change what you said you wanted because the requirement is tough. You meet that requirement. Because if you change it, and then if you keep changing, Lord, bless me with this abundance. Lord, I want this new home. I want that. Well, if the new home requires good credit, come through, Realtor Cree. Then the requirement is you got to get good credit. Well, if you ain't willing to do that, then you don't want the home. So now you change. Lord, we've been living in this neighborhood for years and renting, and mama and them been renting, ain't no need. And then your relationship with fear, because you become comfortable with it, because you spend more time. Listen, I'm talking from a place of complete understanding. You hear me? Because I've been there, done that. Because when you spend more time with fear, you get comfortable with it. You love it. It becomes your friend. You don't see nothing past it. You got to check with your fear first before you do anything else. I want to go there, but wait a minute. I'm scared. I forgot I'm scared of people. I forgot I'm scared of things. I forgot I'm scared to leave my county, my home. I forgot I'm scared. So let me go back to the relationship with my fear. But then you say you want something different, but your structure of your thought that sits you in your relationships with mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, because the parameters of your thinking keep you exactly where you want to be. And sometimes, friend, you just need a guide to show you that there's a different way. There's a different way of thinking, honey. And it don't have to be JoJo. I appreciate you watching the Fearless Morning Show. And my goal is to show you something that I've learned. I don't want you to learn the hard way. I want you to get it way faster than I got it. But if you're asking for the thing, because to whom much is given, much is required. Look at the requirements. And if you ain't fixing to do the requirements of what you said you asked for, then tell me why you ask. Oh, I want a good marriage. I want a good man. Or it requires you be a good woman. Are you willing to do the requirements of that? It requires communication. It requires you to talk to people. It requires, whatever the requirement is, are you willing to do that? And or are you going to change what you said you wanted? Because the parameters of your thinking won't allow you to think that that thing is possible. Because your relationship with fear is where you spend the most of your time. So if you're transitioning to changing something different and you're looking at your parameters of thinking, as you're doing this, and I'm so happy if you're deciding to, you're going to have to look at who you're thinking with. And if you're thinking a different thought all by yourself, friend, that's okay too. Go find you a guide, a source, a book, a YouTube video, an Instagram, a Facebook. Go find you somebody that is going to the place or on the journey to where you say you want to go, who's already done it. And honey, change the parameters of your thinking. The requirement is that you may have to not be around the people who are in your current environment. The requirement is you may have to change how you think, be, and are in the essence of who you are. Like you're changing everything from your core. And if you're not ready to meet that requirement, then you really got to think about, what are you thinking about? Why are you thinking that you want something different, but you ain't willing to do the work of something different? So on this great, most amazing day, I hope you have the most amazing day ever, honey. I want you to be peaceful, period, because there's absolutely nothing after that. But to whom much is given, much is required. Are you ready for the requirement? Oh, you know, in college, a job, there's requirements you have to have for, there are prerequisites in college that you got to have, like classes you got to take before you can take the main course. There's things you got to do before you get to the meat of the thing. If you're reading the Bible and if that's your thing, you got to get the understanding first before you get to the meat of it. Because when you read the Bible the first time, you don't really get it. You go back and read it again from a mind of this is a psychological book on the mind. You get a totally different understanding. You get totally different things. On a job, when you start in your career, there's certain things you got to do first to get the understanding before you get to it. So the requirement of the job, you got to meet those requirements. And in order to meet those requirements, there's things you should have done before you applied for the job. So you can absolutely change. You can do whatever you say you want to do. There are requirements to the thing. And are you willing, able, and capable in your mind, mentally, emotionally, physically, and financially? And even if you ain't on all 4 or 5 of them, you got to be strong on the mental, because the parameters of your thoughts and the parameters of the conversations that you're about to have are going to set the atmosphere for where you want to go. That was good. Somebody write that down. I'm going to have to go back and watch that. It is setting the atmosphere for where you want to go. Honey, if you are the one setting the atmosphere for yourself, that's most amazing. Set that atmosphere. And if you're the one leading your group, honey, you need a leader and a guide. You go find you one. Is when you are ready for that different and you're ready for the new, the answers just make themselves available. And I used to think that people were crazy when they said that. Oh, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Who believe that stuff? Friend, it is true 10,000%. You hear me? 10,000%. Because until you are ready, you couldn't see the teacher even if you wanted to. You can't comprehend what they about to tell you. So why would they even bring you the information? Because the teacher, whether you believe it or not, is watching and waiting with the knowledge and the information that you said you wanted. But the requirement is the focus that you ain't got yet, or the conversations that you're not willing to have that's going to change the atmosphere so that it can handle and envelop where you're about to go. So the teacher will absolutely sit and wait patiently. And until, in the meantime, other people come and have access to the leader, the teacher, the preacher, whomever you want to call it, however you want to look at it. And you look at that person and be like, how did they get it and I ain't got it? How they understanding it, I ain't. When the student is ready, the teacher will come. I used to think that was a crazy thing, but it's true. Because if you're not ready to comprehend what they're trying to say, you're going to, 1, think they're crazy. 2, you're going to think it's not available to you, because you want to start looking at your current situation and say, but in this current situation, I can't even comprehend that. And that, my friend, is the parameters of your thinking. If you don't change the parameters of your thinking, which will change your entire atmosphere of where you want to go. I feel good this morning. I hope this has helped somebody. If it has, please let me know, honey. If it hasn't, please leave it for somebody else. I want you to be peaceful, period, because there's nothing after that. Okay? Please make sure you share the show, because sharing is caring. If your friends and family don't have Facebook, send them over to that YouTube channel. You can binge watch all your Fearless Morning shows over there. And subscribe. Don't forget, we're doing Vlogmas. We're on day 5, so make sure you check those out. Don't forget Sister Healing Circle. The membership is $20 a month. You can still grab your membership. bit.ly/Sister Healing Circle. But if I leave you with nothing else, to whom much is given, much is required. And it is the requirement of the thing that makes us change what we ask. It is our relationship with fear that we are now comfortable with that makes us assume that we cannot have what we said we wanted. And it is the parameters of your thinking that will keep you exactly where you are. And at some point, friend, you're going to need a guide. You're going to need someone to help you bridge the gap of your level of understanding. Listen, I've read all the books. I've done all the things. And for me, the books, the YouTube channels, paying for programs. I had paid money for programs to learn things that I didn't know, and I needed a guide. Good morning, Miss Rivera. How you doing? But you got to pay the price. To whom much is given, much is required. And friend, I need you to look at that requirement and decide on this day. Are you willing to meet those requirements? Or are you going to change what you asked for? And if you're changing what you're asking, then you never really wanted what you said you wanted in the first place, because the requirement was too hard. But you got to change the parameters of your thinking. And you may just need a guide. Somebody's going to bridge that gap for you, okay? To help you understand and so that you can see, believe, and know the next steps. So on this great day, don't forget bit.ly/Sister Healing Circle. You can still join for $20 a month. Where you get started in the first week of January. Right now, if you're in the membership, on Sunday, you should have gotten your first email with some fun stuff in there for you. But I'm excited about the first guest that's going to be coming in January. So make sure if you got questions, let me know. I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. If you know someone who could really benefit for this, who needs to change the parameters of their thinking, who needs a different atmosphere, who needs to look at the intent of their thinking and those that are around them while they're thinking, and send them on over to bit.ly/Sister Healing Circle, okay? We're going to help them. We're going to help guide them along the way, so they don't have to have the learning curve that JoJo had. That's the important part. So, hope you have the most amazing day. Please make sure you share the show. Make sure you catch Vlogmas, which is more behind the scenes of me and the girls just hanging out, more of my personal life. We're on today is day 6 of Vlogmas, so go and check it out. We are having the most amazing time over there. So, hope you have a great day, and I'll see you here bright and early tomorrow morning. Have a good one.